everybody lies on social media. That's what's so great about. I don't understand
I don't know
young
if
moms.
everybody lies.
I think that's what's causing the depression
Yes,
amongst
people
people.
lie.
Sure.
They lie.
Well,
They
I'd
lie.
say a lot of people lie.
They lie.
Sure.
And then other people post the most fantastically.
Not one other kid in this neighborhood does chores. You're gonna get in trouble, Murtaugh.
Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf?
He started it.
Mom!
What?
Shut up!
What is the matter with you?
I know it's a school night, so we're just gonna get right down to it.
Well, welcome to another edition of Fearless Parenting. My name's Harry Hodges Harrison Jr. This is going to be a very interesting show. I have two guests. One is Cash Riley, a father of two girls.
Boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl.
Yeah, 13-year-old and a 9-year-old
He's just
girl.
Cash is in the thick of it, and Lulu Admin, and she is a social media expert, and your mom
I am, of an 8-year-old son.
of an 8-year-old son. Okay, so what we're going to discuss today, and we have Zach, who
All the way on the end over
all
here.
the way on the
All
end,
the way in the end.
can no longer see.
Childless.
Childless, godless, brideless Zach.
You know, I don't know. I'll tell you, yeah, it's fine. I can't argue the God. It's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's just do the show.
We couldn't do it without him, and all the things he's missing. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how people get depressed on social media, primarily teens, but also their moms, their dads, probably their moms more than dads. So Lulu, what's going on? What's happening here?
You know what, to be honest with you, my son is a little young right now. He's 8 years old, so I actually keep him off of social media just because of all of the things that I hear about bullying, about people being, just really targeted online, and just talked about, and really, it's very unfortunate that it's going on in this day and age. So I keep my son off of that. But for me, myself personally, I am not on Facebook at all. I literally have that account idle. I may post something once every 6 months, and I keep it really idle because I hear people talk about things all day long. Little things like just even starting your day where you hear people talk about, oh my God, gas prices are so high, or this or that, and it's just starting off on a negative note, and that drains you, and I don't want to take that energy and bring it to my family or my son or my work life or anything like that. So I try to stay away, really. I do it mostly for professional reasons. I'll be online with my other channels and things like that, but I really do try to stay away as much as I can.
Yeah. Cash, what about you? Are you on social media?
Yes, so I primarily do Instagram, primarily. But, obviously I have a Facebook account. I have, a Twitter account. But a lot of the things that I do professionally, Instagram allows me to, showcase, the products and just the lifestyle that we have as well.
I think we should mention our guest star, Cash, has his president
Yes, sir.
and founder of
Earthwater.
Earthwater.
So Earthwater is the name of the company, and then Fulham is the name of the little bottle there. It comes in an 8-ounce and a 20-ounce.
It looks safe.
It looks safe.
I'm gonna
It
drink
is a curious color.
It is a curious color.
It is very safe.
I don't want to look at the color,
No.
but I want to be on social media about this.
For our podcast listeners, what color would you say that is, Cash? It's water.
It's
Bottle.
it's minerally infused water, so it's black in color.
Okay.
But it tastes just like water. And just when you are, you go get a smoothie or you get any other kind of minerals and you mix them inside your water, they don't necessarily look the same.
Right.
So, but you use water as the basic premise of it all. And this gives us the opportunity of social media to showcase it. So that's good there. My kids, my son is 13 years old and he has an Instagram account. That's the only account that he has.
So as a dad,
Yeah.
I mean, you're okay with does he have a smartphone?
He does.
And so do you monitor it or do you let him loose on it?
Oh no, we have monitoring. So it's my wife does a very good job of, every week we take a look at some of the posts and we follow him and we can see his activity. But it's hard. I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and it's not just the social media platforms. I mean, he has a Sony PlayStation. So I'm always constantly having to worry about the headphones and the talking across the platform and making sure that that he's not only saying the right thing, but he's being nice,
Right.
you know, so that people are aware and cognizant of what he's doing and what he's saying as well.
I think a lot of times these days also things kind of just trickle down where you don't even know where it's going to go. My son may go online and say, I'm doing work on, a certain account or whatnot, or go to YouTube for something that's educational, and then he clicks on something else, and then it immediately goes into something that's inappropriate.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm literally
It
having
can
to...
happen that fast.
It can happen in literally 3 minutes. So
Right.
I'm having to look at it and take a look and see what he's doing literally at minute by minute, and seeing what video are you looking at? What are you doing today? What's this? What was that? And so it's hard. It's difficult, but you've got to do it because it can go from 0 to 10 in a second.
Right.
It's got to be a tough thing as a parent, because I felt like growing up, I was one of those kids where, being a millennial, I grew up with like overalls and Crayolas. It was right before the internet really took off, and like that happened as I was getting older. So I was one of the last ones that got thrown outside on a Saturday, and my parents locked the door. They're like, "Good luck for the next 6 hours. You're on your own. Figure it out." There's certainly a difference between that ideology and kind of always having to keep an eye out on your kids, and it's weird. How do you kind of strike that balance as a parent? Because I'm sure you were both raised the same way. It was go out and do your own thing, figure it out. Now you kind of can't do that because of the environment they're kind of wandering around in, right?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's about what you instill into your kids, the values, the right and wrong, and what's good, and what to be aware of, and letting them know that there are trap falls. That there are out there, and they're waiting out there. So just be careful of how you approach things and what you say and how you say it, because not only do you need to be respectful, but you also want to be looked upon as a person of influence within your group.
I've been interviewed a lot by radio stations the last 3 weeks, 4
Yeah.
weeks about kids and smartphones and getting bullied on the internet. And
It's a hot
bullied on-
topic.
It is. It is
Yeah.
hot,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm almost have reached the belief that I'm not sure I would put a smartphone in the hands of anybody under 15, just because of what we're talking about. That
Sure.
They can be looking at Nickelodeon, and the next thing, some spam has got
Yeah.
pornography or gambling or stuff that you don't want them looking at all, and it's on their phone, and it can happen just that quick. And I think I support having a phone. I support being able to,
Connect.
to connect, yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe text, but that's about it. I'm not really a fan of, because you have to monitor them all the time. And exactly like Zach said, it's really weird that we have this communication device here that all it's done is like enslave us and not free us.
Yeah, it's this incredible tool for learning and communication, but that's like an open pipeline. It implies to all aspects of communication in society. It's not simply limited to like learning and fun and childhood education. That's in there. But there's a lot of other stuff too.
A lot of other stuff. And
It's
like,
hard to kind of curb that,
It's impossible. When you give a child a smartphone, you're giving them, here's the keys to the world. Everything I don't
Yeah.
want you to learn is right
Sure.
here. Everything
Here's
I don't want you
a
to
magical
know.
device that can take you anywhere you want to go. It's
Right.
crazy.
I mean, it's not only enslaving the kids; it's enslaving us as adults too. We're tied. I've got 2 phones right here, right now. I'm enslaved to it. It's work. It's personal, and I try to keep at bay. But you get that instant urge where you were like, I need to answer that. I need to take care of that. I need to, get that new client, or I need to take care of a client. And you're doing that all day long, and it trickles down to your kids too.
Absolutely. Of course, kids look at what their mom and dad are doing.
Yeah.
And so if you're on Instagram all day, if you're on Facebook all day,
Sure.
and they see you tapping your phone, then guess what? That's what they want to do. That's what it means being an adult. That's what adult looks like.
It's also the power of influence, right? So, I mean, you got their friends, they got, the TV, the movies and shows that are all talking about it. So it's my perspective and my opinion is, I can control my son as far as he's in my home. I can teach him and, go through it with him and use it as a learning opportunity so that he can learn, we can learn together, so that we can just be on the same page. Once they're gone, my son's 13 years old, he's about to go into high school next year. After that, I mean, that's a whole nother set of circumstances, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's where how you parented him when he was 2 years old and 3 years old, when he comes into being when they're 13 and 14. That's where you see lack of it, or man, this guy, he had an upbringing.
He had an upbringing, and then even my son, he goes to private school, and it's not easy. You have other influences that are there as well, and accessibility, and no rules to a certain extent that they feel like that. So it's not easy.
Why do you think a teenager who, let's say, is 14 or 15 and is prone to depression? I mean, for some reason, whatever.
Yeah.
They're just an artistic type and hate their parents and broke. Anyway, so they sit at home, and instead of going out and making friends, they use a smartphone or a computer and Instagram all night or Facebook all night, and are willing to listen to the barbs and cynicisms that's thrown their way. They regard the world as too scary, but they welcome this into their life, and everything it says, they digest and think, oh my God, I really am a loser. I really should kill myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
You go ahead.
I mean, we could kid about it, but it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, there are kids who are dying and, who are taking literally what people say to what that is to them and who they are and who they identify with. And it's a very unfortunate thing. And I think this kind of goes back to the parenting and to having a positive influence in your life that can help you, guide you through that, either be your friends, your family, and loved ones that can love you and support you, because the world is mean.
No, that is true. I think for me, I come from a background from immigrant parents where, they necessarily did not show you that, they were very strict, I want to say that, but also they let me be outside and kind of experience the real world at a very young age. Be outside, play with the kids. If you're bullied, deal with it. Deal with it yourself. I think a lot of these kids are behind computers and behind these phones, and they're not having that interaction, that social interaction that they need, that's going to build them as adults. They're just behind these computers, and when they actually get faced with these issues, they just melt.
Well, this is what's happening in the parent land, and I really just spoke about this about an hour ago. Is that parents today want their kids to be happy? You understand that? Okay, I just want my child to be happy. But what does that mean? I will go into poverty and buy him throw a $2,000 birthday party for a 4-year-old so he'll be happy. Is that what that means? To parents, to a lot of parents, that's what it means. I said, or I'll take my MasterCard and just blow it up on Christmas on toys I can't afford just so he'll be happy for 48 hours. Yep. So this parental thing in us that wants our kids to be happy, we have to control that, because what we want to do is raise adults. We don't want to raise kids. That's what I was telling my kids all through their childhood. I'm not raising young boys. I'm raising adults, and you need to act like adults. That's what. So it's interesting with this social media that the same kids who are prone to depression get on it, and so this article comes out and it says, we hate to break it to you, but while Facebook might make us feel worse than other social media networks, it seems like these digital communities are making us generally unhappy. So it's not just Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they're all contributing to the depression in the United States, which kind of adds to the Xanax prescriptions and Valium. So thanks to social media, we're turning our kids into a bunch of drug addicts. It says that about 12% of the people who use Facebook say it makes them feel great. 12%.
12%.
12% of people that use Facebook feel better after they hang up or if they close up than they did when they started.
That's not good.
No, there's certainly something lacking there. I know I'm one of the people like Lulu. I'd rather not have a Facebook. The reason I have it is to stay connected to family members who are across the country and kind of keep that up. But at the same time, I think it's worth considering. If you don't... I don't call these people. I don't text them. I don't ask them how their days are. So how connected are we really? And if we're not all that connected, is it really worth perpetuating this thing that clearly may not be all that good for us?
And that's the great that's a great question of the age. We're not sending our kids outside. We're not sending our kids to clubs. They're not in clubs. They're not going outside. They're not in meetings. They're not meeting other people. They're meeting other people on this thing, and everybody lies on social media. That's what's so great about. I don't understand young moms.
Everybody lies.
I think that's what's causing the depression
Yes,
amongst
people lie.
Sure.
They lie.
Well,
They
I'd
lie.
say a lot of people lie.
They lie.
Sure.
And then other people post the most fantastically, fabulously lying pictures of their wealth and their house and their boyfriends, their girlfriends, their boob job and everything.
Yeah.
And then women look at it and go, "Oh my God, I am such a loser." And this is not realizing everything they're seeing is a lie.
Right.
So like,
It's definitely not easy. I mean, and it's hard to tell the difference between what's real and what's fake, in that sense. And you know, that's the one thing with my kids that I have to instill in. I always tell them is, you know, you just don't know what you're watching, if it's real or not, and you just don't understand what's out there. And you can just live your life to the best that you can, and you know, in the means as well. So it's always interesting.
I think kids have this innate desire to learn, to want
do?
to learn more. I mean, we all do. That's what makes the world go round. We all want to learn about this rock that we're spinning on and why it all matters. And when you're growing up and you're learning things, you're going to school, and that's kind of your whole life is just taking in information and having it mold you into a person. The internet can be a wonderful tool for that. It can. Like, oh my gosh, there's a
Absolutely.
veritable wealth of new things you can learn. But in learning, you kind of have to have a little bit of guidance there. You have to have somebody to kind of steer you through that and say, okay, no, this is good, this is bad. So I typically have a set of morals to learn things. But on the internet, those kind of
Just a little bit.
fade out a little bit, you know what I mean?
So, you know, somebody gets a phone, a child gets a phone, and some of the things they can be exposed to are what we call internet challenges.
Sure.
I've talked about the Blue Whale Challenge, where unbeknownst to me why, a kid will point, say, Zach across the table as their controller. And depending on how depraved Zach is or how crazy, he might say, "Okay, Harry, so today, take off your clothes and go stand in Stemmons Expressway." And I agree to do it. Or he might say, take some soap pods, detergent pods, and eat a couple before dinner. And I'm obligated to do it until the 50th challenge is, all right, take that knife and just put it next to your heart between your third and fourth rib.
Yep.
And apparently a couple of kids have done that.
Well, I mean, you see the gun challenge recently on YouTube. I mean,
I haven't heard that. What's that?
Where you got guys who are literally pulling out a gun and acting like they're going to shoot you, but they don't. And they don't pull the trigger, but it's to scare them. And then one guy actually did pull the trigger at a restaurant and ends up killing the kid.
So, you know, I don't think that's really a true internet challenge. I think that's a challenge among some urban gangs. I just don't see.
That one sounds
I
like a
don't see
stretch.
15-year-olds
I think
packing
Tide Pod is a
AK-47s.
stretch, but that's
I don't know what kind of challenge it is. I'm just
I think it's called a hold-up challenge. or
yeah.
something.
It's
If
it's
someone's walking around packing
Yeah.
heat, and there's no challenge here. You're a dead man.
you're dead.
But you know what? There's always going to be that kid that's going to see that and think it's okay, and they can actually do it. You know, I've seen the nutmeg challenge, right, where they snort up nutmeg.
See,
and
back
get
in
high.
my day, it was the cinnamon challenge.
It's something like that. I mean,
It's still there.
it's just crazy.
It's
still there.
That one was a lot more low key, but yeah, it's a similar thing. And I mean, that goes further back. Back further, we had Truth or Dare. You remember Spin the Bottle? Those were all games that people had. They weren't as extreme.
How
the internet has
innocent
kind of
was
ramped
that,
that
right?
up, but it's something, you know. Like that game's like 7 Minutes in Heaven. Wasn't that a game? I mean, there's
I don't know.
games.
Does that
Kids come up with wacky ideas. The problem is the internet can conglomerate them all and rise the most extreme to the top. Those are what's popular. It's like seeing a magic trick on Facebook or a homeless person singing.
It's almost an acceleration program. It's just like see it, and then they want to do it, and they want to hashtag it, and they want to be
yeah.
a part of it, and it's a beast that just takes over their life, you know.
If I'm a dad, so Cash, what would alarm you about one of your kids' actions? I mean, what would you have to notice for you to think what's wrong with them?
The behavior in the sense of how they're treating others, and if they're not being respectful or just totally not behaving themselves in that sense. That's the one thing that it's a real big thing for me. Disrespect. I'm from New York City, and I've seen very disrespectful people, and how that works, and that's not something that's good. So we've always tried to instill in them disrespect. So if I see them being disrespectful, or I get to see something's wrong, either something happened at school, something took place that's not in the norm, that has made them in a position to put them that way. And that's where I just kind of like call time out. And then, we just have a sit down and look what really is the problem.
Right.
But again, you have to have those conversations with your kids, right? So many kids are just being put in front of a TV or given an iPad or something and say go, and you don't conversate. So we have a rule, every Friday night we always sit down as a family and enjoy dinner, so we can just catch up on the week and then the day and just make sure that they're good.
What, Lulu, what would alarm you in terms of your kids' behavior in social media? I mean, would you allow them on social media as they get older?
Right now, no. I don't allow him to be on social media, but as he gets older, of course, I think that he needs to be on it, not only for just, connecting with his friends and being, learning a process for him. But I think for right now, no. I think what's really important for me right now is having that dialogue with him and having communication open. A lot of parents, and I am one of them. There were a couple of times, maybe when he was probably like 4 or 5, where I did not want to hear what he had to say. I was so tired. But now I'm really learning to just listen to every question, no matter how redundant it is, letting him speak what he has to say that's in his heart or in his mind, and listening to it and answering it with enthusiasm, And I think that's what kids need. They just want to have somebody that listens to them. And if they don't get that, then they're looking at other outlets.
Well, that's a good point, is that if they don't feel heard at home, they could easily pick up their smartphone and go to Instagram or
Right.
Facebook and see what lunatic will listen to them today.
Not to mention, it's easier to communicate on the internet. Kids struggle with communication. You go through awkward phases where you feel like you don't know what to say or how to really interact with people around you. On the internet, it's a lot easier. It is. Just type a comment, leave it, boom, and you're on your way.
Yeah.
Throw that thumbs up or a heart.
They'll get 10,000
Simple.
likes, 10,000 comments, and that's
Right.
validation to them, right?
Right, and it is communication kind of diluted down to a form that we don't have in society. Well, we kind of do. Now it's just kind of a regular thing, Facebook, and kind of the way we use it. But for kids, it's easy. It's just easier than having to go out and deal with real people. It's easier than having to talk to your parents
Sure.
about a real problem.
But
Like I
that's
said,
the problem, though, right?
Yeah,
They're,
well, of
they're getting it
course.
from a fake place.
Yeah.
They're not getting it from where they want to hear it from.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, nobody ever really wants to hear what they need to hear. You know what I mean? We always want to hear what we want to hear.
Right. Not what we need to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Kind of. Well, I think you're right, Zach, that it's a very easy thing to do is throw an emoticon down or criticize something to pile on somebody if you're the kind that piles on. I mean, it's an easy. You don't have to make sense too much. In fact, you don't even have to spell good.
Right.
You could just use emoticons
You
all
can just use an
throughout.
emoticon, and
Yeah,
this is why I'm
Be
feeling.
done.
Right, and I like to think Lulu, what you said earlier, that makes sense. Having family time, getting to spend time with your kids, and breaking down those walls of communication, that helps. Make it easy for them. Make it easy for them to feel like, hey, we can just chat about whatever.
He
it's
will
cool,
literally
you know?
ask me about a car every single morning.
Yeah.
Every single morning. And I'll answer it, and he knows the answer, but he just wants to hear me say it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that builds that open line of communication
It
with your
means
kid.
something.
You
Yeah.
know?
So I guess our message to parents here is real simple. If you choose to give your child a smartphone, well, first off, mom, don't stay on Facebook all day and then get depressed and then yell at your kids or your husband at night.
Yeah.
It's
Which
like,
is
like,
very easy to do.
don't do that.
Don't do
Yeah.
that.
Don't do that. And
Please.
Secondly, don't believe everything you see on the internet. I mean, absolutely don't believe everything you see on Instagram or
Right.
Facebook. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. And people post to make you feel bad. Generally.
Yep.
I mean, that's my belief. And
Well, they won't. They want to be somebody they're not.
exactly, they want to
And
present a picture.
Exactly.
You want to present this fairy tale imagination or imaginary place where everything is fine, nothing is bad, no one gets into any arguments, or there's no issues to take care of and to face.
And they're usually the ones who have the worst lives, honestly.
Yep.
And it's sad to see. I mean, because some of these people, obviously, who they are. You're just like, why? I mean, there's something else that's, greater at an issue there. Well, at the end of the day, it's not right.
So parents, be very careful with a smartphone. If you're going to give it to a child, monitor it, watch where they are, watch where they go, what they say, who their friends are, and monitor how they're feeling. I mean, they may not tell you jack, but they may be telling all the Western world, I feel like committing suicide. Because that's the way a 13-year-old brain thinks.
I am curious, how open do you think you should be with your kids about monitoring their stuff? Because that's the thing. That was the thing with my parents. They would tell me, hey, just to let you know, you got anything going on the computer, we're going to know because we have parental controls. Like, that is part of that communication for me. I think that avoids kind of like an overlord mentality, a dictator mentality,
Sure.
that my parents are always watching and I can't get away from them. Like, that sounds dangerous, but I'm
Yeah.
not a parent. What do you think?
I think there's a difference between being a psycho, and psychotic about it,
Yeah.
and there's being a parent about it, right? And I'm not here to. You're going to live your life. You're going to do what you got to do. I'm not going to steer you in every direction you need to go in life, because at the end of the day, it's your wheel. You got to take care of it. But really, I'm here to guide you through it. I'm here to help you understand. Hey, you can't talk like that and say this, or you can't post this, because whatever you post, Google picks up and it's attached to your name forever.
Right. The internet isn't written in pencil, it's written in ink.
Oh,
It's
man.
ink.
Yeah, stone.
Stone, heavy stone.
Never goes away.
It never goes away. You can hide some of it, but it's always going to be
always there.
found wherever it
Yeah.
is.
So I think I think I'm getting a cutoff sign here. I think we've actually burned through
Okay.
our time. But one
Nice.
point to Zach is that as a dad, I am impressed upon my kids. I knew everything.
Yeah.
I knew everything.
But you
they did.
told them that.
Yes.
It wasn't like you just caught him in the act every time.
no,
You're
no.
like, ha, gotcha again.
no,
Like
no.
you weren't
Surprise!
twirling, you weren't twirling your mustache or anything. You were very open about it. Listen, here's
Daddy's
the score.
home.
Yeah, you know and I know. We're cool about it.
awesome.
Like, that helps, I think.
Right. You let them know you know everything. Okay. Thank you, Cash. Thank you, Lulu. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Matt. We've had another great show.
Thank you.
Tell your friends about this podcast. Check the website, fearlessparenting.com.
Absolutely.
Check the books out. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Fearless Parenting is a production of the Real News Communications Network in collaboration with Harry H. Harrison Jr. This episode was recorded and edited by Matt Stoker and myself, Zach Lewis. Production music courtesy of the Audio Jungle Music Library. To find out more about Harry and his work, or to purchase one of his books, visit www.fearlessparenting.com.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.